welcome to this new episode of Inspiration. That's my podcast about knitting, yarn dyeing. I'm Christelle, I'm an indie dyer based in France. And thank you for joining me for this new episode. So if you're new around here, welcome first of all. I have a weekly podcast episode up on YouTube every Monday afternoon, except today because yesterday was a bank holiday and today is Tuesday. But otherwise, it's all Mondays at 5 p.m. Paris time. I have a newsletter, which is really important if you're interested by my dyeing business and the yarn, because it lets you know what's going to be in the shop, at what time and what to expect. So that's really it's just one email per week to let you know what's up, with the exception of Mondays right after Fiber Show. Usually I'm driving back from the show and there is no shop update and no newsletter in that case. The next Fiber Show is Laine en Or, and it's going to be on the 13th and 14th of May, so there will be no podcast next week. And then there's a shop update, usually on Monday afternoons, with the same exception as for the podcast and newsletter. So today I'm going to touch base with you on the May colorway of the Sock Knitter's Almanac, and then I'm going to share with you progress on my projects. I have a finished object here I want to share with you. And that's it, guys, for this week. And the next episode will be on the 22nd of May. Okay? So, first of all, the Sock Knitter's Almanac. If you're new around here, but before I dive into that, if you're a returning viewer, how are you? I'm so glad that you're back for another episode with me. It's always a pleasure for me to sit down and, have my coffee, have a little chat with you. So, thank you so much for coming back. So, the Sock Knitter's Almanac. So that's kind of a club. It's a club. It's a yarn club. Yeah. It's a new colorway every month. And this month is inspired by street art. So this is the mood board, and I was really drawn towards, all the colors and the way sometimes it's completely wild and not planned because several people are working on the same space at different times, and sometimes beauty can emerge from something that was absolutely not meant to be beautiful, but because there is hundreds of different graphism and colors and I mean, it's a maelstrom of different things, and from that maelstrom beauty emerges, and that's what I wanted to really take inspiration from for this month. So the colorway for the month is called Street Art, and here it is. I'm going to show it to you a bit more in details, but it's really different according to which bases I dyed it on. So for example, some bases tend to, fuse colorways, fuse colors one into, and melt colors, mix colors one into the other, and some bases tend to keep the colors pretty well separated. So that's the case, for example, for all the bases with cashmere, so that's my MCN base, or this base which is Lurex, and it has, both bases have a tendency to keep the color where it touched the yarn, and it doesn't mix the color. They don't mix the color, those bases. And those understood the mission, they understood the assignment. That's what I wanted for this colorway. So I will really put those two forward and say, and especially that they are my favorite. Okay, so here is the colorway, and what I wanted to work with this time around. I was quite a bit anxious to show you this colorway because it's really out of my comfort zone. Okay, it's not the way I'm used to working. Usually I like to work with analogous colors and go slowly from one type of color to the other one, treading softly on analogous colors. This time around I clashed the colors. Okay, so you have well, it's still a bit analogous, but you have the white, you have the yellow, which is very close to turquoise, and then deep blue, and then a brown and orange and pink. So still kind of a, you know, you can just don't care what the assignment was and do their own things, and that's the case for those, for example. But it's also linked to the nature of the yarn. For example, on BFL and silk has a tendency to make all things more lighter. So that's why this one is more a pastel version of the colorway, more pastel than I had intended. But I mean, if you like that kind of, you know, more muted, more mixed together color, Stellina will be perfect for you. You still have all the vibes there, but in a more muted way. And extra thin fingering this time around is a bit in between the two. But definitely my favorite for this month are Lurex and MCN. I think they look gorgeous. Extra thin fingering is not bad either. So that's a colorway for this month, and then the contrasting color is called Urban Legend, and this is this beautiful, not variegated, but more like semi-solid tonal, deep purple and neon purple, with lots of speckles, turquoise, pink and yellow. So this is on Lurex, on extra thin fingering. This is on MCN. I love that you can see the blue quite clearly here. This is on Stellina and BFL and silk. So there you go for this month. This is the pairing, and I totally want to knit myself like a short tee for the summer, something very you know, short sleeves, cropped, that I want to layer with maybe a shirt or just maybe on bare skin. So I'm going to be on the lookout for new you know, patterns for tees. If you have any suggestion of, you know, something that knits quickly, and yeah, I will be knitting myself out. As for the pattern it's always so difficult for me to say suggestion for this month, okay? I played around with Ravelry filter. I like to see which patterns are the absolute favorite of knitters worldwide, okay? And for example, I tried to play with filters with French pattern, or a pattern available also in French, and it was very interesting to see that Hermione Everyday Socks is a favorite, I mean internationally, but also there are a few ones that are typically French, and there is one which is called By the Seine River, which is available in English as well. I know this one, I think it was designed by an English-speaking girl. I don't know if she was American or Australian or English, but she lived in France actually, and she wrote the pattern both in English and in French. It's a pattern that has like 10 years or something, and it's been one of the pattern the most knitted by French knitters, and so I thought that it would be nice to just, you know, enlarge our subculture with these classic patterns. Now we can call them that, classics. So that's By the Seine River by Donna Knits. If you want to check her pattern out, it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and they are really lovely, and they work very well with variegated yarn as well. So any type of yarn, really. And that's it. And you know, for this month again, I'm going to design a pattern with both colors. I really want to use both colors each time, so I've bought myself a knitting bible about knitting in color that I've just started to read, just to, you know, explore what are the options apart from stripes and stranded knitting. There is a lot of different options you can use to knit, to use color, different colors in patterns. So I'm currently reading this. And in terms of finished objects and projects, I'm super happy to report that I finished my second version of Satisfaction. So that's a pattern of mine. The first one was knitted out of sport weight in a solid color here. And the pattern is currently being tested, and it's going to be out at the end of May. And this is a second version that I wanted to knit using DK together with mohair and silk. And I wanted to have a different color. I wanted to use the contrasting of the month for the border. So this is, the main colorway is Ostara. It was the March colorway of the Sock Knitters Almanac. And this is the contrasting color for the month of March. It was Rabbit Moon. And I really wanted to have, you know, this contrasting border, and I think it's lovely. So I'm very happy about the result. The thing is huge. It's a very big shawl, and I knitted it on 7mm needles, so it was quite quick. And what is very cool about this pattern, it's so easy to knit, and it's going to be, you're going to be able to knit it with basically the yarn weight you wish. So whatever you have in stash, for example, it's going to work for this shawl. The testing is ongoing. It's going to be finished by the end of the month, and the pattern is going to be out, I think, the week of May the 19th. And I will be including in the pattern instructions for different type of yarn weight and different type of yarn association. So that's fingering and lace, sport and lace, DK and lace. I think, yeah. So needle size recommendation, yardage, whatever you need, or metrage, and yeah. So still a bit of work to do on that, but on the making progress, okay? And then, because this was my, you know, my project on which it was my attack plan project, my projet plan d'attaque for the month of April, and my attack plan project for May is the Phases sweater by Jennifer Beck. And wow, I'm actually quite surprised that I finished the yoke so quickly. I stayed up very late one night because I was so enthralled with the knitting, and I couldn't, you know, I just wanted to knit the next row, and it was so addictive. And I mean, I've heard that about stranded knitting before. I've read that several times. I've not made that personal experience yet, because standing in my way was the awkward way I was around needles and, you know, tension and two colors at the same time, and I think that my brain clicked, and I really understood why it's so I mean, why it's so cool and so addictive, and I couldn't stop knitting. And I was super surprised to actually, because I was there, okay, and I knitted almost all that in an evening, and then all that, and then all that. And I mean, I still have like 15 centimeters to go, maybe less, maybe 10 centimeters to go for the body. And I mean, this is close to be done actually, and what a surprise. I mean, so my objective for this was to be done by the end of May, so that's going to be okay, I guess. And I'm alternating skeins for the body because it's a variegated colorway of mine called Autumn Rainbow, and I didn't want any pulling, so I'm using a different ball for each different round, and I'm changing at this spot in the pattern, and I don't have any ladders or anything. It's actually working out beautifully. So yeah, super happy about that. Can't wait to block it and to wear it. I think it's going to awesome. This is not Halloween themed pullover, okay? This is not a Halloween themed sweater, guys. I know it looks like it, but it's not. My brain is picking Halloween colors without me noticing it's Halloween colors until it's too late, okay? But I showed it to my friend Letitia. She told me it's going to be so cool to wear at Halloween. I was like, it's not a Halloween sweater, okay? It's for everyday wear. It's just I happen to love orange and purple together. It's okay. I mean, no other progress made. I'm afraid I'm completely smitten with this one. I couldn't let go. And despite all my carefully laid plans for a, you know, objectif ridiculement petit and plan d'attaque and so on and so forth, I've been knitting on that quite exclusively. So I'm embracing the flow here. Okay, I don't say my plans and ridiculously small objective thing is dead. It's not. It's because it's still the vacations here. Kids are at home every day, all day, being the noisy ones. Okay. I mean, I'm having trouble concentrating and focusing on my work, and I've been known to spend quite a few minutes and hours, you know, knitting instead of doing anything else. So, I mean, and I've spent time with them as well. Yesterday we went to the shopping mall, we had lunch, we did a bit of shopping, we had overall a very good time, and the week before that we went to the movies, and yeah, I still want to find time, you know, to just enjoy the little things with them. And yesterday evening, I decided to cook ramen for the first time. So ramen from scratch. And I thought it was a quite quick recipe, maybe under an hour, which is not so quick. But I mean, ramen is something when you do it like you're supposed to do it, it's not quick to put together, okay? You have to cook the broth, you have to prepare everything. And it took me close to 2 hours actually, but it was so good, guys. It was so good. I'm going to put the link to the recipe that I followed. It's a YouTube channel, and it's a 7-ingredient ramen from scratch. And it was very easy, just very time consuming, and you have to be focused all the time, but it's totally worth it. It was so good, so good. So it was all in all a very good day. I managed to also dye a bit of yarn yesterday. I had my friend coming over for a coffee. I can't even understand how I managed to put all that in a day, and I was done by 9 p.m. I was like, I went to bed. Anyway, so there won't be any podcast next week because I will be back from the fiber show resting. So next podcast on the 22nd. And if you are at all interested in the advent calendar for this year, know that it will go on sale on the 30th of May. I will talk a bit more about that in the episode of the 22nd, next episode on the 22nd of May. But very important, if you're at all interested, please subscribe to the newsletter. This won't go into the shop, it will be put on sale only in the newsletter. Okay, so in the meantime, take care, happy knitting, and I'll see you on the 22nd. Bye guys.